This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of our big show, Ready to Rock and Roll. Eli Mostart will join us coming up later on. Bison 6-year senior. Chat about the upcoming year and about a pretty neat venture he's got going this summer. That's coming up here in about a half hour. Pretty pumped to have our next guest on. We're just talking about recruiting with Mike here. The class of 2025, North Dakota State has found its quarterback for the upcoming class, returning to a pretty popular area, the Tampa Lakeland area. The Bison have got some absolute studs out of that area. They hope our next guest is next in the long line of that. Our pleasure to welcome on Lakeland quarterback Zander Smith joins us this morning. It's great to see you. Congratulations. I know has it been hectic the last 3 days? You put your commitment out on Friday. Tell me about what the last few days have been like.
Last few days have been great. I put it out, announced it. A bunch of people reached out. My family and friends have been ecstatic about the news. My teammates have been congratulating me. My coaches are super excited. But this will be the second radio show I've done, and it's interesting because I've never done things like this before. But Coach Hedberg kind of warned me that some stuff like this was coming, so I was ready for it.
He should know. He's done plenty of interviews, so he knows all about it. So welcome to the big time. Describe this recruitment about North Dakota State. Why the Bison?
So in April, late April, Coach Polasek and Coach Crutchley came down to see me throw. I don't think they came specifically for me. I know I was on their radar because Coach Hedberg talked to me a little bit about that, but they just came down to see Lakeland and everything. I happened to be throwing that day. I threw pretty well because I got a call from Coach Hedberg that night. Hopped on Zoom even before I was offered to run through some install and talk some things through. I think he was just trying to see, if I was smart enough to play in his system. But it checked out. He offered me the next day, and that's really when things started. Started talking to him, talking to a few other coaches. We set up an official visit because it's not super easy for a Florida kid to get up to North Dakota. But I ended up going on the visit, meeting everybody, meeting a few different recruits, and it felt like home when I was there.
Did you feel pressure, like you and not necessarily just the Bison were there? I know there were other schools, but how did you feel going into that workout, that throwing deal? Like, okay, there's going to be some eyeballs on me. What were the emotions like?
The emotions are it is a little nerve wracking, but at the same time, I've been doing it for a while, and you reach a certain point in recruiting where I've thrown in front of hundreds of coaches, and not everyone's going to offer you, not everyone's going to talk to you. So I just went in with the mindset that it was just a workout. I'm throwing with my guys, and if the coaches end up liking me, that's great. But if they turn the other direction, it is what it is. So just was out there to get better, and ended up working out for me.
When we talked last week, you've been under the spotlight of this for a while. I mean, you got offered after your freshman year of high school. Tell me, has this seemed like it's gone on forever, the recruiting process?
Definitely. It's been a long time coming. I've been talking to a few different schools, going to college camps since prior to my freshman year. Didn't end up getting really any traction until after my freshman year. And then it was pretty dead for a while, which was definitely wasn't my favorite thing. But
I bet.
but after we won state, I started getting some calls, started seeing some people show up at school, and so it was definitely pretty cool.
Give us, Zander, the background. You've played at a couple other schools before landing at Lakeland. Tell us on how all that came about.
So when I was in 8th grade, I played at Braden Christian School. That's because it being a private school, I was able to play up. So I ended up playing varsity my 8th grade year. That was really good for me just to learn the game, to play against some, better competition. And then after that, I like we were just talking about, I wanted to get recruited.
Yeah.
And my plan originally was to always end up at Palmetto, but after the season I had at BCS, it was kind of a decision to either stay or go, and they really wanted me to stay, but I ended up going to Palmetto, played 2 seasons there, got recruited a little bit, got to meet a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, and then we had some coaching changes and some staff troubles, and So I looked elsewhere and ended up landing at Lakeland just because of the storied program. And I knew I could get seen there. I knew I could have success there, and you know, it ended up pretty well.
How far is Palmetto from Lakeland? Was that a big move for your family or no?
Not really. It's only about an hour.
Okay.
So I live here with my brother, and then my mom lives with my granddad back home.
So you've already experienced, quote unquote, the transfer portal in high school already.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess you could say.
Describe going to Lakeland. You mentioned this, and I think for Bison fans, they know there's a few Lakeland alums that have come up to play here. I think they know the level of football. What was it, intimidating or exciting, or a little bit of both when you transferred in there?
I mean, it was exciting, but there was a little bit of intimidation. But once you get past that, you realize the opportunity that you have. I mean, where we play full D1 teams every time. They're, every game we're gonna play a guy who's going who knows where, Alabama, Ole Miss, just we're playing big time guys, and we have big time guys ourselves, so it's a lot of competition. Um it's big time football.
Yeah.
Florida football is different. I'll always say that. I've always said that. But it definitely prepares you for the next level.
I was visiting with S.J. Green about this, another Florida kid, last week about weekly Friday night. Give us what that like, knowing, okay, this guy's going to go play at Georgia. This guy's playing at Alabama. This guy's going to Tennessee. I mean, you have that I'm assuming, almost every Friday night, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, preparation's always the same. They're not there yet, so it doesn't really matter where they say they're going
Yeah.
or where their Twitter says they're going. We're gonna go out and we're gonna attack every guy like they're the same. If we see something on film that, if we see a DB on film who's catching 2 picks a game, I'm not really gonna throw his way much. But regardless of that, we're not really game planning based on where someone's going to college. We're game planning based on how we're gonna. So that's the biggest thing.
You mentioned this about the state championship. How much did that change things? How many more eyeballs than were on you for you being a quarterback of a state championship winning team in Florida?
I think it got a few more eyeballs on me, but at the same time, I ended up getting hurt in that game, which sidelined me for a while. So after that, it kind of like neutralized it. I feel like if I didn't get hurt and I had a good game passing wise, it would have, I might have blown up a little bit more, but it all happens for a reason.
Well, you guys still scored 60 points. I mean, come on, tell me what kind of offense you had this past season.
I mean, we pride ourselves on being able to do everything, regardless of the situation. So we had a lot of injuries throughout the year. We had a couple of suspensions. So every week we were playing with a new lineup, whether it was new O-line, new receivers, new running back, whatever it was. We had depth because we built it throughout the year. So we didn't really get we didn't get our team fully healthy and all of our guys back until the third round of the playoffs.
Wow.
And once that happened, we scored 77. And then the next week we played a really good Buchholz team, only scored 21, but we won. So we ended up going to state. And then I got hurt in the first quarter, wasn't able to throw. I finished out the game, but we ended up having, I think, close to 600 yards rushing. And that's just from what we had been through the whole season, and just everybody ready to go. Everybody was ready for whatever happened. So
I'm assuming you're healthy now. What would happen in the championship game?
I'm fully healthy now. I had a AC joint issue in the state championship game, got that all fixed, and still, obviously still recovering. Don't want to aggravate it or anything, but I'm throwing 4 or 5 times a week, lifting 4 or 5 times a week, so feeling really good.
You're worried obviously about the team aspect. I knew you were, but in the back of your mind, or maybe the day after, like, oh man, how much is this going to hurt recruiting wise? I have to imagine that came to your mind, right?
Of course. But during the game, it was just winning.
Right.
I mean, it was painful, but you got to do what you got to do. Definitely after the game, some hindsight just being like, oh man, if I had this couple plays, or if I did this or whatever. But it happened. You can't take it back, so you just got to keep moving forward.
So you come up here for your visit last week. What were you looking for, something in particular, or something to be said to you to say, you know what, this is where I want to go to school?
Really just the feeling. If I got there and didn't feel like it was somewhere that I could be and somewhere I could succeed and improve, then I don't think my decision would have been the same. But when I got there and I started talking to all the coaches and really, dived into some of their core values and some of the things that they were really big on, I realized that it was a place that I could really go and get developed and become a man. So that was one of the deciding factors. Now, obviously, the facilities made a difference because I don't like the cold and it's going to get really cold. So being able to be indoors was a big selling point for me.
The history of Bison quarterbacks goes without saying. Was that how big of a factor was that for you?
Was big.
Yeah.
It was really big. That was definitely the number one piece of it. Being able to work with the guys who coached those, Coach Hedberg, Coach Polasek, just seeing how much. And then I was actually able to talk to Easton Stick and Trey Lance while I was there,
That's
and they told me about how much things have changed since they were there, and how great these coaches were. And I mean, these are guys who are getting paid millions to play football. So it's and just speaking to them really showed me how much love they have for the game and how much love they have for this program. So that was definitely that swayed me early because I was able to talk to them on Wednesday when I first got there.
Now, I heard this. I didn't ask you this. I'm going to ask you this on live TV. On your flight up, did you visit with Chris Carter on your way here?
I did. So I was sitting. Me and my mom were walking in the airport, headed to our gate, and I on the on the I don't know what they're called, but the walking thing.
The jet bridge. Yeah. Yep.
The jet bridge.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
On the jet bridge, I saw a familiar face, and I was like, I think that's Chris Carter. And I looked at my mom. I'm like, there's no way. So I sat there for about 20 minutes thinking about what I was going to say and if I was going to go up and talk to him. And eventually I just hopped out of my chair, threw my stuff down, and walked over. And we had a really good conversation. So he used the coach at St. Thomas Aquinas, and I was wearing my Lakeland stuff. So he he knew about me. It was pretty cool because that was what he really opened up with. He coached there in the 04, 05, 06 season when Lakeland beat St. Thomas three times in a row in the state championship. So he's still a little mad about that, but he knew where I was coming from. He knew the caliber of football that we play, and he was excited for me. I asked him for some advice, and it was a really good conversation. When we ended up getting on the plane, he stopped me and he turned his phone. He was watching my film. He was like halfway through my film. He was giving me some pointers. So it was a really cool
That's
experience.
awesome. And you guys are both flying to Fargo, North Dakota. That's the part that's wild. Did he know anything about North Dakota State?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He knew about the history of the program. He works with some of the guys in the program. He had a pretty good relationship with some of the coaches. So when I was talking to him, that was the first thing he said. He was like, "Oh, you going on a visit?" And he was like super excited that I was going up because it's not normal that a Florida kid goes to Fargo every day. So he was
Wow.
he was he was really cool.
You must have thought then, okay, this may be predetermined then, right? I mean, you had to think that when you got off the plane here, right?
I mean, I don't know. It was funny the timing,
Wow.
but it was really cool for me because I've been a football fan since I
Yeah.
can remember. So being able to see him and then the history with him, Randy Moss, Larry Fitz, the whole nine. So it was really cool.
That's a fantastic story. I appreciate you sharing that. You have it over and done with. What were the emotions been like the last couple days? Relief, excitement, a little bit of both.
Both,
Yeah.
definitely both. I mean, I'm happy that I just get to focus on this upcoming season and getting better and focusing on the team because we're trying to do it for a third straight time. But I'm definitely excited to be a Bison. I'm talking to new guys that they're recruiting every day. I'm talking to some guys who I want to check out NDSU, and uh, it's really cool just being able to be a part of the program now. Have a place that I'm able to go and play and get developed. Because for a while, I didn't really know if I was going to have a home, if I was going to be scrambling up until signing day, if whatever it is. But it's both, definitely.
Give me your analysis of you as a quarterback. Are you a pro style guy? You move around. Give us how would you describe you as a player?
I'm a pro style guy. I'll run whenever it's needed. If it's if I need to get first down, I'll do it. I'd probably take a few more hits than I need to, but I definitely like throwing it more than I like running it. But whatever offense I'm in, I've succeeded. So uh, I definitely I like to sling it. I can make every throw on the field. But I pride myself on being a leader and putting guys in positions to succeed, whether it's a screen pass, whether it's a 55, 60-yard throw. Doesn't matter what it is.
Well, the harder question is going to save for last. You had your hair long during football. Was that for football, or when did you cut the hair here?
So I cut my hair in January. It had to do with my injury. Every so it was also time to go. I'd been growing it out. I had been growing it out for a couple years at
No
that
kidding.
point.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was past my shoulders. It was really long. It's nothing crazy now, but uh I tied it up every day so I could work out and so I could see, because if I didn't tie it up, it was all up in my face and I couldn't see anything. But so I thought it was time to go.
Last thing, Tampa's pretty known for Bison. Christian Watson's from Plant. Zach Mathis is down there. I think at Berkeley he played. How well known is North Dakota State in your area?
Um, it's pretty well known, but I'll be honest, it's because of the quarterbacks. I mean, everybody I talk to, they're, oh, that's where Carson Wentz went. That's where Trey Lance went. So I mean, it's well known everywhere for those players, but it's pretty cool. When I was there for my official, I got to talk to a few guys who are from the Lakeland area. Who are they two of the guys who I talked to played at Lake Gibson.
Lake
So,
Gibson, yep. Hunter Brosio's from Lake Gibson, yep.
Not a huge fan, but
is that a rival for you guys?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We play them this year, and we get to play them at home. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, it's definitely a popular landing spot for people here.
It's really great to get a chance to finally do this. Congratulations. Have a great summer. Good luck this upcoming year. We'll do this again soon, okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Zander Smith from Lakeland, Florida, one of the newest commits for the Bison class of 2025. The quarterback commit joining us this morning about his commitment to play for NDSU. Shout out to our guy, Cullen Holt. He told me that because he visited with Chris Carter at the Maris Golf Tournament and said that he was talking about a Bison that was coming up. Our quarterback commit ended up being Zander Smith. So really neat little nugget on that. How small the world is sometimes. I just shake my head at it. We're overdue for a break. We caught up in a couple of emails here. Eli Mostart coming up in about 10 minutes as well. We roll on a busy Tuesday show. Hot Mike back right after this.